All right, guys, what's going on? Today, we're going to be here talking about our owner dashboard that we are currently creating. And at first, I'm kind of building this out for myself for a couple of reasons. One, as I've started working on the new business, I've found that I have kind of a bunch of different balls in the air, right? I'm working with a bunch of different AI agents for myself and my company and the things I'm trying to create. And then I'm also doing that in tandem or in parallel with my clients' agents and the things that they're trying to create. And when you work with a lot of different businesses, right, you're jumping from back and forth. You're jumping from, a fitness studio and a gym over to a construction company, over to a landscape company, and you're just kind of bouncing back and forth. So trying to keep things really organized is helping my brain, number one, be a lot more present in the moment when I'm working, but also be able to shut the laptop and log off and then be able to be present with my family and still focus on my priorities. So what I'm trying to build here is not just a dashboard where we can get a one look snapshot at our lives, our priorities and everything, but also be able to get to a point where we're getting time back, we're getting hours back, and we can see, how we're doing on what our individual and our business priorities are. So I'm a believer, and I spoke to our local high school yesterday, and one of the questions that one of the students asked me is, what is your number one value? And my belief is that if you are not taking care of your mind and taking care of your body, then you're showing up on a day-to-day perspective at a lower percentage of who you are and what you can be for your family, for your friends, for your business, for anybody you come in contact with, right? If I'm walking around at 95%, I'm high energy. So I got a good night's sleep. I woke up, I ate a great breakfast. I'm fueled properly. I get a great workout. I hammer my business, and it's time for me to show up for my family. And I'm going to show up at 95% of who I can be. I'm going to be high energy. I'm going to be able to laugh and have fun and be able to be easygoing and not stressed out. And that's the type of person that we want to be, that we want to show up to work, that we want to show up with our friends and our family. We want to put that best foot forward as often as possible. And to do that, we have to take care of ourselves. And I believe that everything else is downhill from that. You have to achieve that first. And then if you achieve that, everything else will come to you. And you can compare yourself to who you are when you're at a lesser percentage, right? You've probably gone out too late, drank a little too much, not eaten a good meal, wake up early because you can't sleep because you treated your body like crap. And then you felt how you feel that next day when you're hungover and you're low on nutrients and you're tired and you're lethargic and you just want to lay around and take a nap. And then anything you have to do feels like this big obligation. You get annoyed and you're frustrated. And if you're in your car, you have road rage. And that's that lower percentage version of ourself, right? Let's say that's 40%. And I believe the entire key to life is walking around at 90 or 95% as often as possible and avoiding walking around at 40% or letting people see you or experience you at that lower percentage level as often as possible. And if you do that, you'll be magnetic, right? People will want to be around you. People will want to feel your energy. They'll want to talk with you. They'll want to engage with you, build a relationship with you, work with you, have you on their team, all those things. The amount of people who can show up consistently at 95%, be low stress, easygoing, right? They're not getting worked up about too much. They have a low ego. They're calm and they're patient. They laugh and they can have fun with things. And, they're cogent and aware. They're not sleepy and lethargic. They show up on time. Those types of people, I just believe that it's such a separator, and it's actually, I think, a pretty low bar. It's not that hard to do, I don't think, right? For some people, maybe it is. Maybe it's super unnatural for them. But we're going to think about this and going back to this idea with our dashboard, right? We want our priorities to be reflected in what the data and the metrics that we're looking at every day. So if this is our number one priority, this idea needs to be front and center. So how I'm doing it right now is I'm tagging it into my Apple Watch. So really quickly, I can see steps, I can see sleep, I can see HRV, I can see exercise hours, all the things that come from that, right? Daily caloric burn, etc. So I can get all that on my dashboard, and that just pulls right from my Apple Health, right? So that's automatically put in there every day. If I wear it and it's charged and I sleep with it and all the data is there, it just pulls right to my dashboard. And I can look at daily, I can look at weekly. And again, I can aggregate that data however I want. Maybe I want to look at like my weekly trends of resting heart rate while I sleep. That's one I like to look at. And if you guys have never looked at that on a day where you feel like, holy crap, I am operating at a low percentage. I feel like crap today. I'm tired. I'm slow. I'm lethargic. I'm not focused. Go and look at what your resting heart rate was the night before. I guarantee you it was elevated. So that's a quick snapshot for me. That's one that I look at a lot. That's kind of my general, health priorities. Then underneath that, it's like scheduled workouts. What am I doing? In the days where I'm not scheduled to work out, then I have to start thinking about, okay, what's my activity going to be? So right now that's super easy. That's like chopping wood and taking the dogs for a walk. And I try to get both of those done for a day. So if I can chop wood for 45 minutes to an hour and I can take the dogs for a half hour, 45-minute walk, like that's a pretty good amount of activity. I'll push 15,000 steps easily. And then my average heart rate when I'm chopping wood's around like 120. So it's like good low zone 2 and core work if we're getting into the nitty gritty of health and fitness. So that's kind of like how I think about building this dashboard out, right? On top of this, what I'm starting to look at is how do I want to gauge mental, right? So I'm building this out right now, and I'm probably going to go through a few iterations, but iteration 1 is just going to be a simple 1 through 10 test, right? So every day I log onto the dashboard. I'm just going to click 1 through 10, basically 10 being like, I feel amazing. I slept great. I'm super focused. I'm not stressed out, etc. 1 being the exact opposite, right? Like couldn't sleep last night, got up early, feel stressed like crazy, not doing well, not patient with the kids, whatever it might be. And I'm just going to score myself as a quick 1 through 10. Second from there is going to be probably some semblance of reading time, podcast time, or time in brain development, learning. Right now I'm learning from a couple of different places that are a little bit unique, different than how I was learning in the health and fitness space. And so sometimes I'm in like different platforms. I'm in webinars. I'm maybe on X watching a webinar from the Claude design team or something like that. And I'm getting a little bit of different exposure to learning. So my mental is a little bit different there. That might be challenging for me to like automatically log. I might have to manually log that. And just in terms of, brain development space. So I have a couple of different ways that I think about that. Not every day is learning based. Sometimes it's just like, okay, maybe I'm going to read some philosophy, or I'm going to read like a history book, or listen to, more of a philosophical or a different topic, maybe like a light business podcast, right? Which for me, that's like it's like light, easy going, relaxing. So this is, again, we kind of talked about this already, right? The input that drives every other output, right? If you're operating at a higher percentage, then you are going to be the best version of yourself. And I think if you just put that foot forward every day, where we do take some dedicated time to work on, mental, physical, and emotional health, and our sleep hygiene, our nutrition, we put some extra focus, effort, and energy on that, and then we get a really nice dashboard. One of the things I'm not going to do, but you could very easily do, is you could tie this in with something like a macro stacks or a nutrition tracking app, and you could have it aggregate all your data directly to you from a nutrition coaching app, or a nutrition logging like macronutrients or types and qualities of food, whatever you want to do with that. Again, we could pull that data in and you could get your nutritional picture really quickly too. So that's kind of like our general health panel. And for me, that's going to be probably my like front and center. Like that's kind of where I'm focused first, making sure that I'm checking the block there, making sure I have some checks and balances on me and on my life and the way that I'm, trying to live, and not just like making sure I'm not just talking about it, but I'm being about it. Right. Now, as we move on to our next one, this is kind of the thing I'm creating this for, right? Is I want a one-stop dashboard for me to be able to go through both my business life and organization, but also my family life and organization, and my general to-do list. Okay. So right now, you guys, if you guys have been listening, we have a lot of outdoor projects going on. So I'm trying to kind of book and schedule time where it's like, okay, I'm just going to chop wood here for an hour, 45 minutes, or I'm going to, right now we have so much dang wood that I actually have to like build all of these extra stacks to actually hold the wood. So I'm trying to like book and schedule some time into that. Then I've got, general like, okay, we've got to go get the kids out of the house. We're going to go take them somewhere fun or do something together. Date night, these things, right? We got to organize that. But for me to arrive at those things focused and clear brained, I have to make sure that my general work to-do list and the things that I know I've got on my plate that I have to get off my plate by the end of the week are either organized and scheduled or are just done, right? So my hope with this for me is I can get a quick snapshot. And again, this will be a built out iteration of how I do it. Right now, from a work perspective, it's like, things that have to get done this week. So these are like high priority tasks, and then things that need to get done within the month. So these are like medium priority tasks, and then like low priority tasks are things that maybe need to be done. So a good example is I want to reorganize my entire file set for my entire AI thing. Like the AI is going to help me with that. But that's just going to be kind of like a process to reorganize all of our files in the way that the AI reads and communicates the file system. If I start to reorganize things that point to where a file might live might no longer be read properly. So we need to make sure that we don't miss turning over any stones when we do that. And that's something that like I'm going to do when I have like what would be actual free time. Like I have no other things on my daily or weekly to-do list. Everything is done and caught up. Once that stuff's done, then maybe I could spend some time doing that. So those are our low priority tasks. So that's kind of how I think about them in my head. High, medium, low, adding things to the to-do list and making sure that those to-do lists stay manageable. And that's going to be a whole column for me, right? Those will tandem in with my calendar in my Gmail inbox. And that's kind of like just my general prioritization, right? These are things that are going to help me stay organized. And the whole idea behind this is being able to like quickly before I log off, look at the dashboard and then go and be with my family or go and do whatever the task that we had calendared next is, because everything is properly organized. I have my to-do list. I know exactly what I need to get done. And then I can communicate effectively of like, hey, we have this on the calendar, I'm going to go work outside for 45 minutes, but then I've still got a pretty decent to-do list for today that I need to get knocked out. So I got to get back. And that might be after the family goes to bed, or that might be before they wake up the next morning, right? But that helps give me a nice snapshot of kind of how I've got to organize my day. So again, we're thinking about it more as like, my whole idea with this is AI is only actually useful, right? These agents, these dashboards, these things that we create with it, the code that actually is generated from the AI is only useful if it allows us to get better data, show up and have more presence with our family, have more hours with our family, get more done faster, or get the same amount of work done faster, be more efficient, be more productive, and then really in reality, like be able to truly log off and be more present with our family. And if it's not doing those things, then number one, I think we're not using it right. And we maybe need some like help or coaching around that. But number two, I think it's being a detriment. It's not being helpful to you. And I will tell you, I've told Maria this multiple times. AI can definitely be that, right? It's a really fun tool to play with, but not actually be productive with, right? So it's kind of this like, and excuse the term, it's a little bit of like mental masturbation, right? Where you're just like, okay, you're working with it, you're interfacing with it, you're doing a lot where you're maybe creating new designs, you're doing all these things, and like things are happening, but you're not actually like doing anything, right? Like you're not actually doing productive work that's going to help you, get things done, find new clients, make more revenue, get more bottom line, get more time back, help your team, make life easier for your employees, pick whatever thing you want to do with it. Like you can sit there with AI for like 4 hours, just like redesign logos. and you'll be blown away. You're going to come back and be like, oh my gosh, AI is incredible. This is so amazing. Look at the logo it created. And it's like, yeah, but in reality, you just wasted like 3 hours or 4 hours, right? And I think a lot of people are falling victim to that. And I mean, I've fallen victim to it too, right? It's easy to fall victim to. And so we have to get to a point where we have a firm understanding of how we are driving our lives and our business forward to get more time back, to move the ball forward. And if we're not really laser focused on that, it's going to turn into this kind of thing that just spins our wheels, makes us spend more time, but doesn't actually like help us in any real tangible way. So we're trying to stay away from that. And again, the more organized you are, the more quality time you get with a free brain. So this is a part of my morning routine. It's like, check the dashboard. What do I have to do today? Cool. Do I have time to just have a loose morning with the family? Or like today, I don't have time to have a loose morning with family. So I'm down here super early and I'm knocking out to-do lists because last night we had date night and I had a lot more family time. And so, it's like the to-do list is still there, right? So I got to start knocking it out. All right. Now we're thinking about the professional dashboard. And as we start kind of going through this, I'm in the aspect of like, I want to get this done first thing in the morning. Like, this is my wake up snapshot, right? I'm not a big roll over and look at your phone thing, but I want it to be something like where if you roll over and look at your phone, what are the things that you're rolling over to look for, right? Is it going to Gmail? Is it checking your credit cards? Is it, like, where are you at? What are the things that you check, right? Now, if you check social media, I can't help you. If you're rolling over and first thing you're checking social media, that's like an addiction problem. You got to work on that on your own because I can't really help you with that. But if you're rolling over and you're checking your Gmail, or if you're rolling over and you're checking, bank accounts or calendar or to-do lists or reminders or whatever like thing, or text messages, anything like that, that's all stuff that we can get right in the dashboard. Wouldn't it be a little bit nicer for us to just kind of pull up a one pager and it gives you everything? Here's the things you have to do today. Here's your calendar in terms of task list priority. We've organized your email inbox into prioritization. Here's your high priority emails that are sitting in your inbox. Here's the text messages that came over from last night. Like, again, we can build all this out. So it's like a one-stop shop dashboard for you. Also, and it's like, it'll be nice too, because it'll show you how you slept right away too. And I'm building this out for people based on what their priorities are, right? Different businesses, different business owners, different people have different priorities. You might just be entirely focused on your health, right? Like, let's say you had a health scare. Let's say you had like a heart problem or whatever, and whether you're a business owner or not, your health is just your priority. Your entire dashboard might just be health focused. It might be like nutrition column on the left, center column is steps, general activity, and sleep. Right column might be general exercise and, looking at like, okay, total body, what are things we're focused on, scoring your workouts, etc. Like, you could have just a whole dashboard for this just for health and fitness. You could change it and make it just business. Maybe it's a critical time for you and your business and your employees, and you're trying to sprint and you're trying to, hire more people and get software out the door and whatever it is. Your entire dashboard might just be, all the stuff that you guys have going on in the business. It might be all your project management software links in. It might be Slack. It might be Gmail, and all that stuff just kind of links right in. So this is fully customizable. It can be whatever you want to make it, and I don't expect everybody's to be the same. So I shipped my first phase 1 on Wednesday. The really cool part about this is this lives right on my website. It is password protected by me. And so I'm the only person who can get into it, or I obviously could share the password with it. But as I start to build this out, my phase 1 was my health aspect. So I shipped that yesterday. That's all live and working. And the password protection was kind of a cool element, again, that the AI helped me with. This wasn't something that I was super comfortable doing myself, but it helped me set up all the proper coding for that, and helped me ship that on Netlify and showed me exactly how to set up a password protected backend subdomain of my website. So really, really cool. And as we start kind of going through this, just think about, what you want out of your life and what your goals are specifically. And then this is something where we would start to have a discussion on like, okay, what would that dashboard look like? You can brand however you want, right? You can make it light and airy. You can have your podcast live directly on there. You can have live music. Like, it can be like an old school MySpace page. You can make it whatever you want. And I just think the potential or the possibilities in this domain are just so cool, right? Like this is something that before it just wouldn't have made sense to spend the time to figure out how to manually go through and do all this. But now the AI agents are just like building it in the background, right? Like I'm working on other stuff right now. I'm doing a podcast. My AI agents are over here on my other screen working away for my clients, doing stuff and building things. And they can just be doing that. Like while I'm out playing with my kids, they can be, shipping the new dashboard items. So when we ship next week, we're going to start working more on the business and productivity end of things, social media, analytics. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff next week. And all that stuff when it ships, like it's all going to be doing that stuff or working with it while I am focused on other tasks. And I just think that that's so cool. Or while I'm out playing with my kids or working on my yard, doing whatever we're doing. And I just think that that's really unique. So it's not like a huge extra time component. It does take some brain power and it does take a lot of imagination for you to think about what those things are. But if you already have that direction, if you already have that focus, if you already know exactly who you are and what you want to work on and what you want it to look like in your head, if you can visualize that, if you can have that imagination, then bringing it to life is very realistic and very simplistic. So I hope you guys are following along for the journey. I hope you guys are sharing in that ethos and staying healthy and staying focused. And that's kind of the biggest thing. What I want to bring to people with this, right, is like, I want you to have a better mental and physical health picture because of the tools now, because of the productivity and how much we can get done with these tools that before just used to be a 3 or 4 hour manual task. I mean, that's what I've been talking about with these business owners every week is these people saying like, man, I used to spend hours doing this. Like for me, I used to spend hours building our website. The amount of time I'm probably, 1,000 hours down on the Friendship website over 16 years, probably like 5 or 6 full rebuilds, just continuing to work and grind and learn. First one I had to write by hand with Tom, HTML, like working on updating the blog post and whatever the Adobe website HTML builder that he put us up in was. And now it's like the stuff that's being built, like if you go and look at my website now, that was all Claude design and that happened in a half an hour and it's better than anything I could have ever done. And it's just like having the imagination and communicating well with it. And I just think that that's amazing. 1,000 hours versus 30 minutes. Like, what does that look like? It's just like, you think for these kids these days, like they're going to be able to go so fast. And it's exciting, but it also really, really zooms in on how good you are at prioritizing, logging off, tuning out, focusing on things that matter. Because remember, like all these things are cool, right? But in life, what matters is your health, your family, your relationships, your loved ones, touching grass, being able to have more time with them and more quality time with them. And we have to use this as a tool to get us those things. So that's my message for today. Hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you soon.